よっしゃうしろお便り採用それに憧れのプリンセス7号さんに名前呼んでもらっちゃった今夜も麗しいお声だな
Yo, it's your boy Luap coming back at it again with another video. In this video, I will recap and review Pokemon Journeys episode 106, a new show, Team Rocket's Covert Kingdom Radio, as well as give my predictions for episode 107, Help Big Brother Yamper. If you guys enjoy episode reviews as well as recaps each and every week, then I highly suggest you hit the like button and subscribe as it truly helps support the channel. But with all that being said, let's begin by recapping the events of episode 106. The episode begins as always by telling us about Ash and Go's dream when suddenly we are interrupted by Team Rocket. As Team Rocket is going to start their broadcast, Wobbuffet taps on the Rotom phone to play BGM, but it refuses and says that it can't be bothered to do it. One scary face from Jessie later, and it agrees to play the background music. Jessie introduces herself as the main act of the show, with the others not being very amused by it. As James is trying to introduce himself, Jessie cuts over him and says that James is the one with no personality. Meowth then describes himself as a super personality, but Jessie outshines him by saying that she has a hyper super ultra personality instead. This radio show is being broadcasted in order to recruit more Team Rocket members, and we get a breaking fourth wall moment with Team Rocket saying cut to the opening, and James and Meowth saying 1, 2. Looks like they remembered to add Altaria into the intro, so that was a nice touch. Under Giovanni's orders, they are doing the radio show, and they need to work hard to recruit more members since it's going to be heard worldwide. After being motivated to continue the next show, they asked the Rotom phone how was their first broadcast, and as it turns out, they actually had 0 viewers. Instead of lowering their morale, it actually inspired them to push harder to make an amazing show that people would want to tune into. Cut to Ash and Go sleeping, and we see that Cerise and Renji are hard at work in the lab. Renji says that he listens to the radio as a hobby of his, and Cerise explains that he used to as well. A really random filler of 2 minutes of nonsense to pad the runtime, to be honest. We see that Team Rocket had spent all night preparing their second radio show in order for it to be perfect, and they are confident that it's going to do so. They give it their all, but after the show it shows that it still got 0 signups for Team Rocket, and they blame it on the segment that James suggested. James then suggested that maybe they should try shortening the length of their show and perhaps give away some goods. He offers to give away some gold Team Rocket bottle caps and a premiere ball from his collection. Renji tunes into the show for a bit, ends up liking it and being their first fan. They play a game to guess what's inside Pelipper's mouth, and it should be played with the viewers. James goes first and describes what he's feeling inside Pelipper's mouth, and it ends up being Hangry Morpeko. The next segment is ASMR with Morpeko, and they do it by him eating all of their food unexpectedly, with Renji getting really into this segment. We then cut to see Brock is out there listening to this, which was a really nice random surprise. Officer Jenny, Nurse Joy, Alistair with Cursula is also listening in. This is actually Cursula's main series debut, by the way. Renji writes to the show about 2 of his friends, one that wants to be a Pokemon Master, and the other one that wants to catch all the Pokemon in order to meet Mew. Team Rocket wishes them the best in their dream, and says that they're going to support their dream and hope for their best, which is pretty ironic, but we all knew that they were their fans since day 1. Finally, we see that Cerise has actually become a fan of the show too, by having one of the bottle caps from earlier on his shirt, and then Renji pulls out showing that he's won the Master Ball. At first, Cerise is impressed, but then he shows him that he's won many bottle caps instead, and they grow closer knowing that they both are fans of the Team Rocket radio show. We see that Team Rocket has forgotten the reason for them starting to do the radio shows, and they're just doing it now for fun. And that's where the episode ends. That's it for the recap, now it's time for my review. This was an interesting episode to say the least. I feel like this episode was very clearly made in order to fill a week for other future episodes, and I'm all for it. This basically was all about the Team Rocket trio in their underground base just making a radio show. They had a lot of great moments together, and even better was the amazing fourth wall breaking that they did all the time. It was filled with funny bits sprinkled all throughout, and in general was just a chill episode. You know, it was another episode about Team Rocket, but this time the story of how they got together, Pokemon Chronicles episode 13, which me and Starmeister have just reviewed just a few days ago. It's on my channel, link below and in the card on the top right, and you should totally check it out right now. Besides that, this episode was beautifully animated, on top of having amazing scenery shots of night and day in Vermilion City. We even got a reference to the Oshawott in the car, but this time he's on a rocket for the radio show. It was very cool to see Brock again, and we even got some dialogue from him. A fun fact is that Wobbuffet and him share the same voice actor in Japan, which is why he was able to be on so easily. It was also fun to see Alistair again, and he's just recurring all the time at this point. I will say that it was hard to recap this episode because it was so dialogue heavy, and I watched it without subs, which is normally easier to do with context, but with this episode being so dialogue heavy, I honestly couldn't understand 100%, so I hope you understand if there are some minor mistakes. With that being said, I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 10. Far from the worst episode of Pokemon Journeys, but even farther from being the best in my opinion. If you missed this episode this week, don't even worry about it. There were some good laughs in there, but that's about it. Now it's time for my predictions for episode 107. We see Yamper running around Cerise Park and playing the Big Brother Road to Ghost Pokemon. I love that we're getting another Yamper focused episode after a long time now, and it's likely going to showcase how he's matured as seen in the scene where he helps stop a small fight among the little Pokemon. He's basically now the Bulbasaur of Cerise Park. Next we see Yamper standing beside murky waters, and it looks like he was trying to protect the laboratory from something that causes the waters to be toxic. I love how everyone was covering their ears when Bruxish emitted some strange vibrations, but Yamper took charge and jumped to stop it. Afterwards we see Suicune appearing from the mist, so it's likely that this legendary beast is going to be the one to purify the waters of Cerise Park. I expect Suicune to serve as Yamper's mentor, and will teach him how to be the protector of the lab while Suicune is away doing its job of cleaning the world's waters. Overall, I think this is going to be a cute and fun filler episode with a pinch of surprises and character development sprinkled all throughout. So yeah, that's my review for Pokemon Journeys episode 106 as well as my predictions for episode 107. If you guys enjoyed it, I highly urge you to hit the like button and subscribe. I make episode reviews every week just a few hours after the episode airs, so if you enjoy these reviews right after the episode, you know where to come. Today's comment of the day is, if you could win one Pokeball type aside from the Master Ball to get, which one would you choose? For me, it'd be the Luxury Ball because I've always liked the design and the color scheme, but what about you? What's your pick? Again, if you made it this far into the video, I truly appreciate you, and as always, it's been your boy Luap, and I'm out. Peace.